hero's journey. And so there's good reason why I think the hero's journey has been fleshed out the way it has, and that's the idea that it does have a pretty deep reflection to processes that humans undergo in transformation and being a change agent for the world, right? There's typically certain kinds of things that fall out in the real world, that happen, that bring about big changes in oneself and the world. So this has been translated to many of the big movies that we see on the screen today. Some models, some movies, take it whole cloth, as the way to write a movie in some sense. So it's a useful tool to explore the process of you going into the unknown. If you do want to dig deeper into it, you can kind of expect and anticipate this a bit. So this is again part of the map or the toolkit that you're going to be wearing on your back. You have your backpack. This is one of the big things you're going to probably carry with you, and knowing that going into it, you can prepare yourself psychologically and behavioristically to kind of walk into this landscape a bit better. And I mean, this is all, it's kind of metaphoric, but on the other hand not. So here's the traditional, one of the examples of a traditional hero's journey. So you have this individual, he's in the known world, so this is like kind of a typical day-to-day transactions of most people and most of the time in most of the world. And then there's a call to adventure. And so that means like, okay, I got this, there's something unusual here about, that I don't fully understand. What is it? What is it? And then you get an aid, and, in that sense, like, there's something pushes you in that path. It's like there's something right about exploring this. It seems like the direction that my soul needs to take, or my mind needs to take, or the world needs to have, that slowly pushes you in that direction. But you haven't met your helper yet, if you ever do. But you haven't necessarily met your helper. It's just like this. You're kind of treading out, and you're kind of looking out. You're still in the world, in the known landscape. But you're kind of like something's out there maybe. And then you kind of, there's a threshold. It's like, okay, you think there's something out there, and there's the known world. It's like, okay, I'm gonna go for it. And so this is the process of stepping out of the known into the unknown. So potentially if you think my stuff is crazy, just listening to me is kind of a step into the unknown. You're kind of journeying in a very subtle way. This is not like a profound journey, but in a very subtle way, you're exploring the unknown with me right now, potentially. So you step out, and then maybe, not always, but often, there's a mentor or a helper that's there to guide you through this process. Like you might be going on a deeper journey than them, right? You can think about Obi-Wan and Luke and this sort of thing. Here's Obi-Wan, and he's telling things to Luke, but it's something that he hasn't been, he doesn't think he was ready to take on. But here's this guy that might be, so he facilitates this process of courage that this person has in exploring the unknown, and gives them hints and new tools and new ideas and new exploratory processes for which that person can more easily make the journey that they feel in deeply inside of themselves that they want to make, right? And then there's usually, right, so you're digging deeper, you're getting into layers and strata of things that are really unusual, really uncanny maybe. The world has never really fundamentally understood yet, and you're just like digging and digging, depending on how deep your hero's journey is, because there's different levels of this hero's journey. But if you're digging deep and you're really finding out new stuff, you're going to get new temptations and challenges arising a lot. Believe me, that stuff's going to come up. And both, again, many pains and many pleasures in that discovery process. So you're opening till finally you kind of get to this abyss, and it's like this land of desolation. This can last for an extended period of time or short, depending on the context. And usually if you've done with your challenges well and the temptations, this abyss can be consolidated maybe pretty quickly. And then you in a certain sense you die, and there's kind of like this sense of like, I'm not who I was anymore, in a profound new way. It's like you've changed, you see yourself, you see the world in a fundamentally new and rearranged fashion, right? But you're still not able to deal with the world in its regular fashion. It's like you have to somehow integrate this back into the world. And that's the process of going back up into the known territory. So you're deep in the unknown now. And it's like, uncanny stuff might be happening all around you, unknown. And then you start to, slowly you make these sorts of transformations that allow you to more easily be the being that you found in the abyss, that new death and rebirth process, and you're starting to build it into the world and like carry that forth into the known world. And then usually also maybe, at least in the hero's journey, there's, and I think this is true too, there's those things that you did getting there. And it can be, things that will weigh on your soul, things that you might have done wrong, people you might have hurt getting there. And this is the thing, when you're in the unknown, it's far easier to hurt people because you're dealing with things that you don't understand usually. And so, powers that might be above your head, at least initially, and you might have did things and that you feel bad about. So you have to kind of, fix that as best you can with yourself, or help get other people to help you fix it, and then you can kind of have at least a degree of kind of peace in yourself about the process that you've undergone, hopefully. And then, the best case scenario is that you've fixed most of those things in yourself, and then you can, gift this new way of looking at the world to the people, or new expression of being in the world, or new tool like Elon Musk tools or something like this. You can gift those new things to the world that they can use and change the world in a powerful way. And so, that is, the general story of the hero's journey. And this is a big, big player in exploring the unknown. We'll dig deeper into this in a sec.